So by the time I upload this video, it's the time of the month where everybody hates this month because of this particular reason if you're still in school. Anyways, today I will be explaining a story on how it goes in a class period while state testing and what the teacher and students do during that class period. And by the way, I turn on adventure mode so every single time when I hit something, I don't break it. Anyways, let's get started. So one day in a random week, it was almost the end of the day, and I was walking to my second period class, which is science. I entered the classroom and headed to my seat while saying hi to one of my friends that I have in that class. Her name is Bella before class started. After the bell rang, class started, and my science teacher, let's call him Mr. Garcia, he usually likes to talk about stories about what happened to him throughout his life every single day before we get into an actual assignment that we, us students, are supposed to do. Since he usually talks about it every single day, I get bored of just hearing his story every time, including my friend Bella and others, since nobody really cares or pays attention to this guy's story, since we literally just hear this teacher talk about it every single day to the point where everyone would rather do a class assignment instead. After hearing him talk for about 15 minutes or so, out of nowhere, he talks about state testing and that it starts tomorrow, which then kinda woke me up after hearing his long story and realizing to myself that he was completely 100% right, and also says how we were going to be in period 3 for several hours. Soon afterwards, he finally stops talking and gives us our class assignment of the day, but there was only a short amount of time to even finish it, so my class packed their things, then the bell rang, which meant the period class was over. Then it was time to head to period 3, which was the last period of the day, and it's a good thing for me since in that period I have English with few of my friends. Usually in that class, some people go inside before the bell rings, while me and my friends just wait last minute for the bell to ring. That's why sometimes the class looks somewhat empty so we can surprise my English teacher when we enter the room because every time me and my friends rush into the classroom last minute, she gets a little annoyed, which me and my friends find it funny since she makes a random comment about it. But she doesn't really mind at all, so don't worry. After all of that, finally, the bell rings and everybody goes into their seats and talks to each other about whatever business they have in their conversation. Next, a few minutes later, the teacher gets up, and let's call the teacher Miss Matthews. She goes in front of the class and makes everyone read for the whole period while she's working on her computer. But then the last 5 minutes, she announces that tomorrow there's going to be a state test and that we will meet in her classroom the next day. So everybody just sits there and listens to Miss Matthews until the bell finally rings. So I'm home and it's already night, so I go to bed, wake up the next morning, get changed, and start off my day by going to school. An hour later, I'm walking into the class I have state test on, and I just sit there and wait until the teacher gives out instructions about what the plan is for the day. Minutes later, she finally gets up and explains the rules about how we can't use our computers after we are done with the state test and that we cannot talk to each other, and the only thing we can do is either wait until the class period ends doing nothing or read a book. People in the class hear Miss Matthews clearly and then start whining saying it's not fair at all, which I would also agree with them. Even this one girl in my class named Zoe whines about it since she likes to read but doesn't want to read until the period ends since she already has to deal with state testing and it's just too much for her. Miss Matthews then tells everyone to calm down and that she will hand out snacks for everyone in the classroom, and now everybody is calm and happy. Soon enough, the teacher gets the code from her computer, walks to a whiteboard that's next to the class big screen, and writes the code so that everyone could see. Seconds later, she tells the class saying, "That's the code for the state testing of the day." And she also says, "Wish you guys the best of luck." So she walks back to her desk and starts approving everyone. Then 2 minutes later, everybody's just concentrating and doing the test until the bell rings. Luckily for me, I was one of the kids who barely finished the test in the last 10 minutes of class, so I just stood there with some kids that were done with the test also, so I just waited there daydreaming until the bell rang for lunch. So I leave their period when the bell finally rings and I go to lunch. Then I have to head to my other classes afterwards, whatever. And now the first day is over for state testing. So I walk into my room tired, knowing I have to do this again, and I just go to bed exhausted and I just try to forget about me doing this for the next several days. Finally, the time has become to an end for state testing, and Ms. Matthews congratulates everybody for a good job. Then she tells everyone that we worked so hard on it and how we were going to get our test results in a couple of months. Out of nowhere, there's this one kid that's also in my classroom who said that he couldn't really understand it, so he guessed on some of them. Then Miss Matthews gets annoyed because she doesn't want to hear about it, and that's the last time state testing was ever mentioned in my English class. Next thing you know, when it's finally time for me to finally look at my score from the state test, let's just say I tried my best also. The end. Thank you so much for watching.